welcome back to the Yes We Can podcast. My name is Kira Andersen, and I am here interviewing my very first guest and dear friend, David Drier. Thank you so much for coming today, David.
It's great to be here, Kira.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
And the first slot. I love this.
Yes, you are the very first guest on purpose.
I'm honored.
Yeah,
I'm honored.
Of course. And fresh off of the boat, really,
Yeah.
from Tanzania.
Yes, just came back from a wonderful 3 weeks in total, 2 weeks in Tanzania with the entire family on a safari that was unbelievable.
Amazing.
Really amazing stuff, up close and personal with Mother Nature.
That's
and
right.
all these animals. I mean, there was a pride of lions, 3 lionesses and 8 cubs of probably ages 6 weeks to a year and a half. And they were all playing around, frolicking, trying to get at the mother's milk. And if one of the females, they I forget what it's called when they are willing to share each other's cubs for nursing. There's a word in nature. So they do that. And so all the cubs are like knocking on mom's door. How about a little milk? And one would like, and another one would be like, okay.
Cute.
And they're all, and you're as close as we are to them. I mean, you're in a vehicle that's open air, but you're looking down on them, and the pictures are extraordinary, and the sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hearing how they communicate.
Yeah.
One extraordinary moment was they sensed that a kill was nearby, that they could get a baby giraffe in dinner time, right?
Okay.
They got 11 to feed here, and 2 of the lionesses perked up and they went, and the third one stayed back with the 8 cubs. And the third one sensed that maybe this was going to happen, and she moves out a little bit, and whatever signal she says to these cubs, I'm telling you, they are really lively, like 2 and 3-year-olds would be of any species, right? Your own kids. Yeah. And all of a sudden, whatever was communicated,
They stopped.
all 8 of them just froze.
You're kidding.
All of them, even the little ones, just
goodness.
froze. And in the end, they did not get the giraffe. And yet the 3 lionesses had disappeared, and the cubs were just frozen. And now, all of a sudden, through the brush, you see the 3 lionesses reemerge, and these cubs rushed and just clobbered these moms. They're all colliding, and it was just showing you that the
real live Lion King.
The real live Lion King, and that maternal instinct is just alive and well throughout
nature, all beings. That's right.
Yeah, so it was
I'm
pretty
so
cool.
glad you guys got to do that. I want to talk about today really what brought us together. You and your family deserve a trip like that after all you've been through.
Thank you.
As most people know, my husband passed away of stage 4 pancreatic cancer last year. You also lost somebody very, very, very close to you of cancer. In fact, today is her birthday.
That's right. Victoria Rose Dreyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would have been 34 today.
34, wow.
Yeah, born in 1990. She's been gone 6 years.
Yeah.
So this is the 6th birthday without her here physically.
Well, thank you for being here, and we appreciate your time, and happy birthday to her.
Yes, thank you.
And I know it doesn't get easier, it can't, but we have to continue to live life, right? And some things that you're doing.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about what you're doing to turn your pain into purpose.
Yeah. And you say we have to live life. Life is for the living.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves that.
That's right.
No one that we've lost would want us to stop living because we've
not.
lost them. And so we honor their memory by doing what we do, at least doing our best job of living our best life.
Absolutely.
And if you can dig deeper and find purpose in that pain with something like what you and I are partnering on, funding cancer research here in St. Louis at Siteman and Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital, then you kind of can transcend the pain a little bit. It never goes away, but it is tolerable, if you will, and it takes on new purpose and new meaning, and somehow it can be a blessing.
Absolutely.
Even though it's not a blessing you want anybody to really have to encounter or endure or move towards. But when you do get there, hey, you can't change certain things.
Right.
If you have to accept what is, and by accepting and moving through it, you can actually do some good with it.
Yeah, and also it's keeping my husband, your daughter's legacy alive, and using their life and their disease to change other people's lives. So what I'd love to talk to you about is, A, how long you've been head guy at Petal, how much money you have led us to raise since you've been with us, and kind of what in the future are you looking to do? Like how big, how wide, and maybe talk about how all this money we raise, every last dollar, goes into the hands of the most leading researchers here at Siteman Cancer Center, and just how important funding for cancer research is for patients now and moving forward.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of questions in one, isn't it?
Yeah, I know,
Let's
but
try
I know
to break
that
it down. Let's
you
break
have
it
got
down.
the answers.
So Petal started in 2010.
Yes.
Bill and Amy Komen, local St. Louisans. Bill, a 2-time lymphoma survivor, thanks to Siteman, wanted to do something extraordinary to give back and started Petal the Cause. Victoria, our daughter, had been diagnosed in 2006. So we were 4 years into a diagnosis, and we were finding our way. She lived 12 years with the cancer, with the diagnosis. 7 craniotomies, whole bunch of treatment, whole bunch of cutting edge stuff. First patient in the world to have a personalized vaccine for a brain tumor. So I mean, we were going to the cutting edge, which I was comfortable with because of the Petal formula. When Bill and Amy started Petal, they asked if I was interested in forming a team. So of course we said yes, and we formed Team Victoria in 2010, that first year. I soon after joined the board and was board president for a couple of years. And our executive director, Jay Indovino, the first executive director that led us the first 10 years, wanted to retire and move to Colorado. We're forming a search committee to find his replacement. I throw my name in the hat, and I've been doing this now for 5 years as the paid executive director. So that was sort of my transformation from the philanthropic side, the board side, into being a staff person. So Petal has, over these 14 years, this will be our 15th ride coming up in September. 14 years, we've raised $46 million, basically.
$46 million.
So we will certainly get to 50 million with our 15th ride this year, 50 something. We're not sure what it is, but we're hoping big. Those dollars, which is really where it gets interesting and sweet, is those dollars are invested in new projects, new research projects. At Siteman Cancer Center, 70% of our dollars go to the adult side, 30% to the pediatric side at Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. But we, by and large, only undertake new ideas. We back new ideas. We're the seed capital, the venture capital for these new ideas that these researchers are bringing forward to a scientific review board that deems them having merit enough to take our dollars to invest in them. So all 46 million, 100% of everything raised by fundraisers like you and me and the other 3,500 that join us every year in this endeavor, that gets deployed to the research.
Can we talk about how important research at that bottom level, at that seed level is, just how vital it is that this promising research gets this money?
Yes, these are scarce dollars. They are hard to find for researchers. This unique place in the ecosystem that Petal represents has been a breakthrough for research, not only in St. Louis, but others are using the same model now around the country. It's really hard to get a new idea funded. The national sources of funding, which are the big dollars, don't kick in until you've proven your idea to a certain level. And we're taking projects before that, and we're giving them the light of day. And 2 to 3 years hence, on average, they are attracting another $13 from these national sources that have now said, yes, you've done the work, you've proven out the idea, it's now worth our money to come in. So the 46 million has garnered another, what's called $500 million in federal dollars that have come in and sustained these projects to the next level. And so you hope that the idea goes from seed to being proven, to attracting bigger dollars, to be then hopefully proven out to a clinical trial level.
Yes.
And a clinical trial that is then successful, which not all of them are, then becomes an approved standard of care treatment, and in some cases a cure.
Yeah.
And when we say a world without cancer, we're really saying or really hoping that that cancer is relegated to being a chronic illness.
Yes.
We're not thinking there's never cancer in the world.
Right.
I mean, I don't think science understands how we could ever stop a cancer diagnosis in the first place. We can do certain things, lifestyle-wise, to give us the best chance of never having cancer, but certain cancers just show up. There's no rhyme or reason. They're just
the
there.
bad luck, they say.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's ependymoma at age 16.
Yeah.
It's like, where the hell did that come from?
Where did it come from?
Right? I mean, nobody knows. There's not even an inkling there, if you will.
Right.
I mean, biologically, they understand how it manifests, but why it decided my daughter's head, her brain, left side, right there, and why it decided to come back or couldn't be halted is just one of those mysteries, if you will.
Yeah, and I want to stop here and mention you well know, my husband got a treatment that had never been in humans before, just like Victoria, and Petal funded that study.
Yep.
How many years ago do we know? Did we ever?
I think it's about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, 6 or 7 years ago.
Dr. Lim.
Dr. Keon Lim, exactly.
Keon
so
Lim.
The treatment that was able to get from lab to my husband, the initial funding came from Petal. So that's really why I have a fund for Kyle. And then you and I met through my sorority sister, your niece.
Yes.
Small world, so St. Louis.
Yes.
Connected and had that lunch together and decided, you know what? Let's lock arms. Yeah. Let's do this because we are better together. We can move mountains.
That's right.
And last year you had a record. How much did we raise last year?
$5 million.
$5 million.
Little over $5.
Little over $5 million. Yeah. And what's the goal this year?
Little shy of 6.
Okay.
Let's call it 6.
Why don't we call it a little over 6?
Let's do 6.
Okay.
I mean, there's what we have approved at the board level and what we say publicly, et cetera. What the hell? I'm bullish on this. Let's go 6.
Let's go. Go big or go home.
That's right. I will tell you, now that we're in our 15th year as an organization, we've been undertaking for the last 6 months a strategic visioning project that is mapping out the next 15 years, 2039 project, we call it. And I'll let your viewers be the first to hear and know and see that we're signing up to double what we've done the first 15. So amazing. Instead of 50 million, we're planning on raising a new 100 million over these next 15 years.
Amazing.
Because that's what it's going to take.
Right.
It takes some big dollars.
Absolutely.
And you get that 13-to-1 return, or maybe that even goes higher.
Yes.
It's serious dollars.
Absolutely.
It's serious dollars that are being deployed against all this.
Yes.
So that is the vision, that we are able to mobilize the community, because it is a community effort. We're able to sustain and enhance the partnership with the great research going on at Siteman and Siteman Kids, which is all those physicians and scientists and researchers are Washington University St. Louis Medical affiliated, and it is just a powerhouse in the world.
It really is. Siteman's top 3 cancer center
in the nation, which means in the world.
Number 1.
They are going after number 1.
Yeah.
And a big part of that, Kira, is a big part of that grade, if you will, is the research division of the center. And a big part of the success of the research is Petal the Cause.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's something to really be proud of. And again, in Victoria's
like goosebumps,
honor,
huh?
I know.
Yeah.
In Victoria's honor and Kyle's honor and all those who have battled and either, taken their last breath or are still battling or will battle in the future. And something else I want to bring up too is the FDA. So the government funds, they are the biggest funder of cancer research, right?
Yes.
Of their
the
overall...
NIH and the NIS.
Yes.
The National Institutes of Health and so on, and cancer
Yes.
are the biggest funders of
the biggest
research.
funders.
Yeah.
as far as their budget, the federal government's budget, it's less than 1% of their budget goes to cancer research.
Right.
And the reason I bring that up is we're thankful. We are thankful for that money. But at the end of the day, private funding is what's going to move the needle
right.
for cancer research. So a lot of people are like, what can I do to help? Will my money really matter? How do I know where it's really going?
Right.
It matters. Every dollar counts. As you've mentioned a couple times, for every dollar that's donated, $13 is then matched a few years down the line. And so it really does matter that we privately fund it.
Yeah.
And even if it is $10 or $20 that you can donate,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had big $100,000 donations, $50,000 donations. Some people are really opening their hearts, their minds, and their pockets to help change the way that the cancer treatment is going to look moving forward.
That's right. You know, to participate in pedal as a rider or a spinner or a volunteer, you sign up with a registration fee and then you commit to fundraising. And it's a peer-to-peer fundraising model, as you well know, but you know, you're reaching out to your network. And if you think about each individual having a unique network of friends, family, colleagues, etc., it gives us the power to really go deep throughout the community and region. And I mean, you get somebody that was born in California or Oregon or Michigan or New York, but they now live here. Their network is sometimes back in that other state. So you're pulling in dollars and interest from not just St. Louis, but from everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's really powerful.
And teams are forming in other parts of the country, right?
Teams are forming.
The cause, you don't have to be here with us on that September 22nd. You can be riding virtually,
You can be and you can choose a different activity if you're virtual.
Yeah.
You could walk, you can hike, you can play golf, you can be on the paddle board. You know, anything that's going to that you're going to exert some energy and maybe push yourself beyond a normal Sunday in solidarity with those who are undergoing cancer treatment and pushing themselves really hard to endure the chemo or endure the radiation and just endure the hardship around it. Yeah. That's when that day gets to be very emotional. As you're sweating away and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do 50 miles. You're reminded, Kyle was working harder to stay healthy and overcome the disease than I'm working right now on this bike. Of course I can do this. Of course. And I can tell you, Kira, crossing that finish line, now it'll be my 15th year. I'm one of 50 riders who will have done all 15 years, not missed a pedal. When you cross that finish line, when you have somebody that you're riding for, and virtually everyone is there with someone in mind, right?
Absolutely.
Not everyone's lost someone like you or I have, but they're either a survivor themselves, or they've lost a parent or an aunt, or they've been affected by cancer, or they're likely not spending their time and energy on this cause, right? So going across that finish line, it is a what do I want to say? It's a powerful emotional force right then and there. Yeah. That's the place to be, because you just get all of this energy in from this greater movement right then and there, and you feel it. It's palpable. It's not just like you feel it. It's almost thick enough you can see it, if you know what I mean.
You definitely feel it and see it. I mean, last year was my first year all in. I had participated with my girlfriends Joanna and Anna, who both battled cancer very young. Something I want to mention too, as you were saying, maybe the people watching and listening didn't lose their daughter or their husband, but 1 in 2 people will be personally affected by cancer in their lifetime.
That's right.
1 in 2.
That's right.
So again, if sometimes these type of events, charities, fundraising, they don't hit with you home right this second. Yeah. But it will. It will. Unfortunately. And the faster we can get more money in at the ground level to create more treatment options so people can live with cancer, because that's the goal, as you mentioned. Ultimately a cure would be amazing, but let's get more people surviving.
Right. And surviving with a good life. Correct. Not just kind of muddling through. Good quality of life. Yeah.
And there is amazing, promising research, but at the end of the day, if we all are honest, we need more funding. Yeah. We just do. Yeah.
There is a sense of urgency, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And another reason to be urgent is I believe we're living in a golden era for cancer research. It's a golden moment. It's the confluence of technology and the speed that computations can be made, which led to the human genome being decoded, sequenced. And those two things coming together have allowed researchers to take their ideas, map those ideas, put those ideas into play, and get the permutations they need that would normally have taken weeks and days or weeks and months, maybe even years. That can now happen in minutes and days. And it's amazing how fast. So we're not only urgently getting money to these researchers and to these teams, but they are going at a frenetic pace because they can.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. I mean, we can expect in our lifetime, in a normal lifespan, if you will, if we are blessed to live to 75, 80 years of age, we can expect that our vision is actually reality.
Amazing.
We can expect that if we keep raising the money.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
And hopefully people that are watching feel touched by your story and want to help, be a part of this. So 2 things before we go. One, I would love to know a little more about Victoria. It is her birthday today, as we mentioned. So anything you want to share about her, I would love to hear.
Victoria was our firstborn, our only daughter. We have 2 other children, 2 boys, Tommy and Alex. She was, very early on, you could just, the love that radiated from this little body, you could just, it was palpable. And my father-in-law said that that's a bucket of love. And it stuck. And he was right. He had some intuition. She was a bucket of love. And she loved everybody. Kids loved her. Adults loved her. Dogs loved her. Cats loved her. She was just an attractor of love.
One of those people with the positive energy that you could just feel.
Yeah. And she became very maternal when Tommy was born, who was just 2 years younger. She was all about Tommy. And Julie was like, oh my God, I've got my second mom here, And then later, 7 years later, Alex was born. Alex came along, whoops. Alex came along, and yet Victoria was now 9 or whatever, right? And Victoria was just this little mom, carrying that. He was what we called a Buddha baby. He was the fattest little guy, butterball. Now he's the skinniest little thing. But he's not a little thing, he's 25. Skinny guy. Yeah. But he was a butterball, and she'd be carrying this big kid around on her hip like she was the mom. Anyway, when you ask about Victoria, for me, it's the love that she is remembered for and by, and the smile, and the laughter. The girl loved to laugh and make you laugh. She laughed all the time. And sometimes laughing so hard that and the niece in common, Amy Betts, Amy and Victoria would get laughing. They'd be on the ground here, uncontrollably laughing, saying, "Stop, stop, stop! I'm going to pee. I'm going to pee in my bed. Stop, stop, stop!"
I love that.
So who she was. She was sort of an innocent soul. But then, when she was diagnosed with cancer, she revealed a depth and a strength and an understanding of life and maybe death beyond her years. And so she really taught us a lot, taught me a lot, taught my wife Julie a lot, and just realized how blessed I was to have her in my life as my daughter for 28 years. I mean, I said at her funeral, I said the only thing worse than losing her would be having not known her at all. So happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Really special day and time with us. So now, why don't you tell everybody how they can get involved with Pedal, the easiest way to do it, and some of the options that they can...
So the website is pretty simple, pedalthecause.org, and there you can get involved several ways. There are really 6 ways you can be involved. You can register as a rider. You can be a solo rider. You can join a team. You can join Team Kyle. You can join Team Victoria. And by the way, I have to say, Edward Jones is our presenting sponsor, and your husband was an associate there, partner there, and they've been wonderful to us. And Edward Jones just keeps pushing for a deeper community outreach and success in this endeavor. And with their 50,000 associates around the country, we really do look to expanding our outreach further and further and further. And one of those touch points will be through Edward Jones. So we're very grateful to them in what they're doing. But you can join a team. You can join Team Edward Jones. You can join one of our teams. There are friends and family teams, corporate teams, and hospital affiliated teams. Or you can just ride. You don't have to join a team. But by signing up to ride one of the 8 courses, 10 miles to 100, you pick. So there's something for everyone. You are also saying, yes, I will fundraise. And it's a commitment. And this is where I think we're successful and other endeavors are not. It's a commitment. And when people commit, they take it seriously. And they actually make the ask of friends, family, and associates. And we have found that once you make the ask, you realize cancer touches 1 and 2 in so many lives. Most people are really grateful that you've asked. They're not put out at all. They're actually grateful. And they give you a little more than you think they might even be able to give. And once you get that positive reinforcement and flow going, the sky's the limit. And on average, our riders are raising $1,500 on average each.
Awesome.
That's not what they're committed to. They're committed to much less than that, $300 to $500. But they're doing it, and it just happens. So if people are a little gun shy, they shouldn't be. I get it, but you can do it. Everybody can do it. And it takes $10 increments, as you said earlier. I mean, we do get some big ones, but there's a lot of $10, $20, $25 donations coming through, which is beautiful, meaning it touches a really broad base of people and everybody's doing what they can. So you can register to ride. You can spin. There's 2 one-hour spin sessions there on our footprint at the Ride Village, and there's a lot of energy around it. And same thing, you register and now you're committed to fundraise against your spinning effort. You can join a team as a volunteer. Pedal needs about 1,000, 1,200 volunteers to make this work. And you would give you an assignment that day, but if somebody joins Team Kyle, for example, and they check volunteer, there's no dollars to register and there's no commitment to fundraise. But they get a profile page, just like a rider or a spinner does, and they're part of your team. And if they so choose, they can say, hey, I'm memorializing my effort for this cause through volunteering for 5 hours, 6 hours. It's not that it's easy, right? I mean, it's a big undertaking too, and support me with a donation. And this kind of is a big new category of how people can be involved. If they say, I don't ride and I don't spin, but I could volunteer.
That's amazing.
And then there's a kids challenge, ages 3 to 13, and that's the Saturday before, September 21, and it's a closed course. And your kids can ride as many times around as they want, and parents can be out there on the course with them, especially the little ones, and walk along. And we have all the costumed mascot characters, and there's funnel cakes or whatever. There's stuff going on. It's like a little mini fair or festival for the kids, and that's great because that's kids helping kids, and a lot of these dollars will go to kids research, at pediatric research. By the way, Pedal's the 2nd largest funder of pediatric cancer research in St. Louis.
Amazing.
There's only one private foundation that gives more every year to research on the children's side. So it's a big undertaking. And then you can be virtual, which we call it inspired. So you can be inspired to do what you want. You can still join a team, but let's say you're in Colorado or Florida or up in Michigan in September. But you could ride on the weekend or any other day, to be honest. But out of solidarity, it'd be great if you rode on the 22nd of September. You take 10 miles, you ride, you post it on social. Yeah, I'm part of Team Kyle, I'm part of Team Victoria, I'm in Michigan, I've just done my 30 miles, and I've raised $2,000, and I'm all in on this cause. And the final way, if you're just not wanting to do any of those activities, but you want to be involved, you donate. Donate to the team, donate to you,
least.
Donate to me, donate to the cause.
There's definitely a donate button, that's for sure.
There's a donate button.
Obviously a tax write-off. You can also do donor fund.
Yeah. And 100% of all donations go to the research.
Directly to the research. That's
We
right.
have corporate support, a separate ask, a whole separate side of our model that underwrites all the costs, so that every dollar raised by a participant, which is a rider, a spinner, a kids challenger, or a volunteer, or an inspired registrant, all 5 of those, all the dollars that come in, we send off to research, 100%.
Amazing.
And that was the vision of Bill and Amy Coleman, and they were correct. Because if you know all your money's going, you're more apt to give. If you find out only 70 cents out of every dollar goes, you're like, well, maybe I'll just give directly to Siteman.
Right.
Right? So we've cut that out of the equation where it all goes.
It's a beautiful model.
And by donating through Pedal, it inspires this whole community to give more, and it just grows, if you will. It grows. And we do some matches along the way too, that we usually have a little bit of money set aside that we can match efforts at certain times, so those dollars can even grow quicker and bigger.
Absolutely. And again, for every dollar donated, $13 is then matched essentially down the line.
Yeah, yes, they're able on average. So to be clear, I mean, we did 28 new projects last year, I think it is, and some of those will fail. They'll be dead ends.
Right.
They're never a failure because it closes that hallway down for future research.
Correct, yes.
That's not working. Let's put our attention elsewhere. But those that do get through, some are getting $30 for every dollar we gave them. But on average, it's 13.
Okay.
It's 13.
Well, I think that's powerful in and of itself.
Very.
So
That tells you we're picking the right projects.
absolutely.
Yes, it just says, and that's where the hope comes in. And if Pedal's anything, it's hope.
Yeah.
It's hope.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, David. It really means so much.
You're welcome.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad Amy made that connection with you and I.
Yeah.
And we partnered together to move mountains because, alone you can make a big difference, but together, teamwork makes the dream work. So
It absolutely does.
Let's
Well,
do
thank you
this.
for all your dedication
Yes.
and your support and your enthusiasm and your love for this, and for honoring Kyle
Yeah.
and showing your kids how to make a difference.
yeah.